Hi guys, good morning. So I'm in the middle of these men are taking all the wall cavity insulation out and putting it back in, or whatever the fuck is going on. And it's like living in a bomb shelter at the moment, which of course is all part of the plan to demoralize, undermine, stress, terrorize, traumatize, and generally just fuck with us on every imaginable level. Great way to start the day. Sorry guys, I'm a bit moody and a bit fed up and a bit fucking pissed off. In fact, take a bit out of that and I'm just really fucking rampant with fucking that feeling, you know, that I was talking about with a friend yesterday. It's like, oh, you reach your back against the wall, you reach your back against the wall. And what comes up very strongly is that sense of ultimate abandonment. Just a minute, guys. I mean, it's May, and it never fucking stops raining. It's dark, dismal, it's dirty, there's grime everywhere, there's dust everywhere, there's litter everywhere, there's all kinds of weird shit going on, and I am so beyond language to fucking... It's just one long, drawn-out litany of extreme misery. It's fucking appalling, guys. Oh, what's really coming up is that abandonment, like the knowing that this is an abomination, right? It's horrendous, it's horrific, it's beyond words, and it's pure evil, and it isn't right at all. It's an abomination. It's putrefaction incarnate. And you know this beyond any doubt, so that means that you don't really belong here and you're not of this place, because if, say, you were created by evil and this is all there is, you wouldn't know any better. Okay. But you know better. You do. But that poses a question as to who you are, what you are, and why you're here. Right? Because you get to this point where I am now, where it's like I literally cannot mentally, emotionally, physically, in any way, shape or form do this anymore. I can't actually. It's like eating poison every day. Your body cannot digest it. You can't do it. You know, it's not doable. This is all part of the process of rewilding your soul, coming home to yourself. You know, you have to face these parts of yourself where you feel like that. I mean, you have to face these emotions of total abandonment. It's like you've been abandoned and you're all alone in hell. You are never safe. You can't run, you can't hide, there is no safety, there's no security, there's no well-being, there's nothing at all. You're all alone. Because everybody is so fucking broken and psychologically, emotionally, mentally, physically destroyed, that is soul beings of course, that they cannot love themselves, hold themselves, and so they can't help you either. It's the whole wounded healer thing, where you're codependently trying to help others and are invested in other people's somehow well-being. It's all really twisted and fucked up, and I'm not going to go into it, but you know, you stop doing that and you start to realise that no, I need to stop doing that. I need to come home to myself, and you do that and you work at that. And that's like going into the catacombs of your own psyche and bringing up the woundedness that, like, frankly, is akin to this whole Psy-Op where they were talking about the deep underground military bases and save the children, which I never bought any of that for even a moment. I know a psy-op when I'm being presented with one, and so again, I don't want to go into that, but symbolically speaking, it is very much like that. That is what we are doing. We're finding these beings within our soul that are the most horrifically tortured little children. All dirty and black and misshapen and completely devoid of any kind of ability to imagine anything other than what we have known here. The more you awaken, the more you realize what you've known here. How truly unspeakable it really is. It's like, oh, fuck me. When you really get to the nitty gritty and feel how destroyed you have been, how destroyed you are. And you have to sit with that and work through that and feel it. Because there's always a part of you that is your true self, that is present and facilitates that and holds on to you, you know. It's one major element of this fucking disgusting hellhole that we call reality is the usefulness factor, I would call it that. Right, so whilst we're being used and abused and eaten up and having our life force sucked out of us, which is why you grow old and sick and die and all that, you're being gaslit and manipulated in every imaginable way to totally separate you from yourself and make you into this battery, this wounded healer thing, which is what they do to soul beings. But then that something that clicks that even more into place and reinforces that even more is the usefulness factor. It's this, well, you're utterly worthless intrinsically as a being. You have no value other than what we can get from you. So it's this like, I went to the post office like some months back, and I noticed there was this great big thing on the side, like an ad saying, give something back. And it's this picture of this fucking fat woman with this great big dumb smile on her face, giving some money back. And it's like, oh, why not donate money to charity? Why not give something back to the community? It's that sort of thing. It's like, well, how useful are you? And, you know, like, oh yeah, because they give us so much, and oh, we have the reasons to be grateful and to be happy and to be, you know, yeah, be grateful because it's all so good and wonderful and you receive so much. And it's like, no. You know, they treat you like a cow on a meat farm, and that's the truth. But, you know, it's like saying to the cow, well, why don't you donate some money to, you know, charity and all. Because life is so good, as they're loading him into the truck to take him to the fucking abattoir. I mean, it's unbelievable. How useful are you? What can we get out of you? Here's the thing, oh sorry guys, it's very early and I've had this really bad cold. I've been sick. Not cold, not that, no, just a fucking cold. I've not seen any monkeys anywhere either, so I want that. But it's like, well, what you're only as good as what we can get out of you. How useful are you? Give us this, give us that, give us that. But within that evil, disgusting, gaslighty dynamic lies the truth that, well, if you are so fucking worthless, we wouldn't have anything for you to want. We wouldn't be useful in any way, shape or form. We would just be worthless and we would be nothing. There is no such thing as a worthless soul traveller. There really isn't. We're worthy, infinitely so. In fact, even to use the word worthy means almost like to imply the other side, if you know what I mean. And it doesn't need to be expressed because it simply is, and it is an intrinsic fact. It is just unbelievable. The gaslighting. Wow. Our friendships, our relationships very much still, I feel, influenced by this dynamic of, well, you see, so I myself have to look at that as well for myself. How do I feel about the people in my life? You know, the meaningful people in my life. How do I see them and how do I feel about them? Because when you have a relationship with somebody, whether that's a friendship or familial, whatever, you're gonna receive things from that person, right? And that's gonna feel good, and you're gonna therefore want more of it. But if that is all there is, and you give nothing back, then you're the black hole, and they're the wounded healer, and that's not gonna go anywhere. I mean, love, appreciation for that person, here we go again with that fucking horrendous word, for that being, for that soul traveler, has to come first. This awareness that you're incommunicado, as it were, with another soul traveler, a souled being that is intrinsically valuable, that is also having this experience here, albeit in their own version of this, right? And to share experiences, to listen, not just wait for somebody to stop talking so that you can then start talking, not, oh well, why don't you give me this and give me that? And you know, it's like, I have to be honest, I mean, I get this a lot. People want me to share with them my wisdom and knowledge and all that I've gained through fucking sheer brutal hard work for many, many years, that they couldn't possibly understand because they themselves have to work this out. They have to work this out for themselves. I can't give you the truth. I can't say, well, it's this and it's that and this and that and who and are. No, it doesn't work that way. So that's why I don't believe in gurus and teachers and any of that, and that's why I know the New Age is false light. Because people cannot be told the truth. People have to work this out for themselves. And truth is not something you know in the mind, but it's something you feel. It's an intrinsic thing, right? So when people want me to share with them this and that and ooh and ah, I know that it's like, okay, you're not getting it. You need to work that out for yourself. You know, a good interaction, a good connection with another soul being is and ought to be based on the recognition in oneself and the other soul being of intrinsic value, worthy of love, empathy, sympathy, mutual recognition of what it is to be a soul traveler in this shitty, horrible, evil, nasty hell realm. Ugh, right? Recognition and understanding, and then to take an interest in each other's stories. And yeah, so you went through a lot, and what was that like? What did that feel like? What have you done with it? Wow, yeah. Recognition, reciprocation. But you know, of course, all that has to be cultivated here right at home, because again, I find this is often the case, you know, for soul beings, because we're so conditioned to be fucking batteries, that actually being present with our own feelings and recognition of our own intrinsic value is what has to come first, and yet it's so difficult. This abandonment that I'm feeling is just like a small child left alone in this dirty black torture chamber, shackled to the wall, freezing cold and terrified, all alone in hell. Yeah, we're surrounded by these people, right? The little people, they all do the same thing. They're there in their garden, you know, with their glyphosate every fucking day, clutching their paper, getting their Costa coffee, doing the same motherfucking shit, you know, fucking mundane reality reinforcement troops. The little people. They're everywhere. It's like Legoland. It's fucked up. They're like these little Lego dolls. You You know, I mean, if you were in trouble and you desperately needed help, they would not be there for you, man. They give you a blank stare, or they're malignant motherfuckers and enjoy your obvious suffering and your despair and your fear. You know, they go off on it a lot of the time. I mean, I've been through a lot in life, and I've really got to try really fucking hard to think of periods or times or instances where somebody helped me out with genuine empathy without an agenda to get something from me. There are a few, but not many. Not many at all. No. I'm used to being thoroughly conditioned to give of myself in any way, shape and form, whilst at the same time believing that I am totally and utterly valueless and worthless. Now there is... Do you see what I mean? Because if we're so worthless and if we're worthless and we're empty and we have nothing to offer, why then are we conditioned to spend our life giving? And then become so used to that dynamic that we inadvertently play that out again and again and again, and have these relationships where that is the central theme. Perhaps we treat others that way without even realizing we're doing it, and allow ourselves to be treated that way without even realizing it's happening. And so we have to become aware. We are aware. Become aware. It's like, whoa, it's really painful. It's really horrible, because it feeds right into that abandonment again as well, because it's a kind of betrayal, you know? It's like, oh, yeah, what have you got for me? What have you got? Instead of, wow, I feel you, I see you, I hear you. Let's cultivate this friendship. Let's cultivate this connection. I am interested in you as a being, where you've been, what you've seen, what you've experienced, what you're going through right now. We carry dreadful burdens every day, and more now than ever before. We are under heavy motherfucking fire here. But you get to that point where it's like, you know what? I can't even go for a walk anymore now, because I'm so exhausted that every minute of the day I feel like I'm going to keel over and die. Wow. We need relationships, connections, whatever, in our lives with soul beings that know how to reciprocate, that know how to hear us, see us, and that we hear and see. This mutually beneficial circle, you know, it never runs on empty, because when you have two givers, like I have with my best friend, he's an empath and a real giver, and it always works out. We get on so well, and it's such a blessing and it's such a gift, and it's helped me in many ways to really get to grips with what it is to be a soul traveller in this shithole, but to somehow magically have received this gift of a really true friendship. And it's taken years, and both of us have worked at it in honesty and willingness, and we've cultivated this friendship more and more, and we've learned a lot along the way. You know, this is a wonderful gift. But I know a lot of you are out there on your own and you don't have any kind of connection like that. It's very difficult. But one thing you can and ought and need to do is to cultivate that with yourself. You have to do it. To be in awareness of it. And it will just happen when that time arrives. That moment will arrive if you're not yet really able to do that. Because something guides this journey, this process. I had this conversation with a friend of mine many years back in a park. She said, you know, have you ever noticed how, you know, we always feel like we have to try really hard and we do, but things just kind of really happen. And it's like, yeah. That's what I call the Great Mother, you see. There are two expressions. I said it before, where all of creation is made up of sounds, and the dark generator has a sound. It's destructive. It's destructive, it's putrefying, it's decay, it's hate, it's victimhood, it's self-hate, it rots everything. It blights all the crops with the black mold. And then you get the Great Mother, which is the sound of infinite unconditional love and harmonious creativity. You know? And it is round, it's circular, perpetual motion. There's no fear of anything ending, there's no death, there's no decay. That is the Great Mother. And there is, just as much as the Dark Generator is always there, egging on the fear and the way that we mutilate ourselves, right? And then go on to mutilate others as well, because we didn't know any better, and all that is now being reversed if we're willing to engage with that reversal process of returning back to the sound of infinite harmonious creation, infinite unconditional love. It's a sound, it's a frequency, it's a vibration. You know, it's a shift. It's a shift. It's a bridge between two worlds. There's the left hemisphere of the brain and there's the right hemisphere of the brain. And there is one way of being, one consciousness of darkness, decay, putrefaction, to another world, which is a world of infinite harmonious creativity. Anything is possible. I feel the Dark Generator telling me how there is absolutely no hope. And all is lost and evil always wins and you're worthless and you're disgusting and blah. All of it. It's a dreadful onslaught. It has been this whole year. But equally, on the other side of the spectrum, the Great Mother is piping up a great deal as well, because you go through these really dense, really dark, horrific, torturous inner purgings, right? But you come out of them and it's like poof. It's not about how useful we are. It's not about, we don't have to prove our worth and our value by continually allowing everything and everyone to feed off of us. What do you have to offer? What do you have to offer? Transactional, you know? No. Our value is totally intrinsic. We are soul travelers. We are infinite creator beings. But we have to dispense bit by bit by bit. Be willing to dispense bit by bit by bit with a certain way of being, which is inspired by the Dark Generator, by the trauma-based mind control, which is very difficult. Like yesterday when we were drilling all these holes in the wall, and it was deafening, and it triggered me in every imaginable way, man. I felt, it was horrendous, absolutely terrifying. It was like there's nowhere to go. I can't leave the house because I have to stay with the cat because he was really affected by it. It was like there's nowhere to go. You just have to sit here and endure this, you know. And all these men, you know what they're like, the little people, they don't give a shit. They do everything half measured, and they leave a shitload of crap everywhere, and they have no courtesy and they have no consideration. They are there because they're minions of the Matrix. So, you know, trigger, woo, bad. And I thought, well, I have two ways of dealing with this. I can really write this victimhood, you're powerless with your back against the wall, and there, oh boy. And I was in that, and then I was coming out in favor of let it go and love yourself and have faith in the power of the good which comes from within you. It's all going to be all right. Allow yourself to be triggered by this garbage. Let it come up. What is coming up? Look at that. Have a look at that. Love yourself and work through it. And I did that, you know. This sense of there is nowhere to go. You can't run, you can't hide, you're in hell, you don't know why. And I was watching The Witcher, which I didn't end up watching because it's very satanic and it's actually horrible and nasty and dark, but there was one little thing in it that made me realise yet again where this witch turns these 3 other witches into these little beasties in the water, and she says, I've taken away their control, but they're still powerful. That's what they've done to us. Because when she turns them into these beasties and puts them in the water, they have this, because they were powerful witches, they have this energy that can be used to fuel this entire place, you see. And that's what they've done to us. They've taken away our control, but we're still powerful. But our power, full of power, powerful, is being used to create this evil shithole perpetually, right? That's what they're doing. The control is the memory of who and what we really are, and what our power is, what it amounts to, and how we use it, what we do with it. Intrinsic, complete and total understanding, truth. If you don't know truth, you cannot have justice, you cannot have freedom, you can't have anything. Truth comes first. And when truth comes and you say yes to it, it will shatter every paradigm you've ever fucking known that is not true. That's why awakening, as we call it, is so horrendously fucking painful. That's why it's like walking a tightrope, where you keep slipping into that victimhood state and into your old fucking processes, into your old habits that are toxic and self-defeating and self-annihilating, and thereby also annihilate others, of course, right? You hurt yourself, you're gonna hurt others. It works that way. It's this whole I am worthless and so are you paradigm. And that's when taking back your power, bit by bit by bit, results in elevation, you know. And yeah, people say, oh, we're not getting anywhere and there's no end inside. And I'm like, yeah, but don't you understand? It has to come from within. It's like a complex mining operation, guys. And for any of you who are really doing the work, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Truth. Who and what we are. What is my power? How do I take back control? And control is not what we think it is. What goes for control in this world is completely ineffectual. It's fear-based. It's, oh, I've got to do that. I've got to keep everything under control, and everybody keeps on putrefying and dying and putrefying and dying, and you know what I mean? No. That kind of control ain't gonna put paid to the fucking matrix. That's not gonna do it. This kind of control is releasing that, surrendering that, forgiveness, which is not about forgiving the enemy, which is about forgiving this fake consciousness, this self-hating consciousness, forgiving, letting go in favor of trusting in the power of the good. The sound of infinite harmonious creativity, the Great Mother, the frequency of love. Nothing else is going to sort it out, I know that. I have difficult, to say the least, experiences, but they work out and they do serve me. They always have, and I can see that. So that's what I go with. Because every time I momentarily lose that and step back into the victimhood, back into the torture chamber, it just, no. I know, and I understand. But yeah, we are intrinsically, infinitely valuable, worthy, beautiful, good and pure and true. You see, we are not here to be used as batteries. We mustn't use ourselves as batteries. We mustn't use others as batteries. It's not about what you can get from people. It's about an intrinsic understanding of the value of another. A soul connection, a soul being, having this experience. And inevitably, yes, you receive lots of goodness from that. That's a given, it goes without saying. But it's not this thing where it's like, well, I need for you to give that to me because I need that for me now. I need that because you are completely self-sufficient, you see. But this is a journey, and this is a process. We have only known relationshiping of the matrix kinds, you see. That's what we've been thoroughly conditioned into by our own families and society and the mundane reality of reinforcement officers. You know. What is it, by the way, guys? I don't know if any of you have noticed that, but fucking the NPC joggers and the NPC cyclists. Christ almighty, honestly. Anyway, I think that's all for today. Felt relevant, so I thought I'd sit down and do a video about it. Thank you very much for all the wonderful comments that you leave talking about what you're going through and what's happening in your lives and the sort of lessons you're learning and whatnot. I always like to hear that. You know, it helps me to hear that. You know, it's wonderful to hear. It just is. It's great. And I thank you for those comments. You know, start playing around with it, guys, that your value is intrinsic and you don't owe anybody a fucking thing at all. You know, you don't. You need yourself far more than you need anybody else. Coming home to yourself has got to happen first. If anybody has you in their life because they want things from you, but they do not see you and they do not show any empathy in you, in what you're going through, in how you're feeling, then you've really got to have a good look at that and ask yourself whether it's worth carrying on. Because often enough it really just isn't, you know. But then again, often enough as well, and this is the difficulty, it's like, am I dealing with a narcissist? Is this just another feeder? Or is this a soul being having trouble working it out? I know I often have trouble working it out. I get it wrong all the fucking time, all the time. And so when you've worked out which is which, then you can maybe get together with said person and talk about it and work it out. It's like walking a tightrope, guys. You know, you invest in people, people invest in you, we get it wrong, we fuck up, we often enough have shit going on, patterns. And a good friendship can show the light on these patterns, can show you, and you can talk about it and you can work it out and you can alchemize it. And that's why a good friendship, a good relationship is worth its weight in gold. You know, but it's working out which is which, and in this gaslighty realm that can be very difficult because we're surrounded by these, you know, whatever they are. Anyway, I know the guidance is always there, it's within us. We have powers that I think we use all the time, yet aren't even that aware of, perhaps, you know. So, that's it for today, guys. All my love to all of you.